Let's go Lions! They just won. I'm watching the end of this game. Man, what an epic performance. This defense that has been obliterated all season. They got Anzalone back. I call him Manzalone because he is a man. And he was a great factor in coming back. He was big for Detroit. But wow, what a performance by Aaron Glenn, bringing the pressure all game long defensively. Minnesota didn't have a chance in the red zone. They got down there a few times and were denied. Came up with 0 points twice. What a game. This game ended on a Gibbs 47-yard run. Gibbs then had a 10-yard run. Then Gibbs again with 5 yards, and the clock was ticking. On 3rd and 9, Laporta had a 7-yard catch. And on 4th and 2, Detroit went for it again in this game. Drew a Minnesota offsides for a automatic first down. And then the very next play, Gibbs got his 20th touchdown of the season from scrimmage, which leads the NFL. And it was on a 4-yard touchdown run, and Detroit led 31-9 to end this game. Wow. Gibbs had his 4th touchdown in this game. He had 23 carries for 139 yards so far. I'm still watching the end of this game, but it's over. 6-yard average, and he had 3 rushing touchdowns, but he also had 5 catches that were crucial for 31 yards and 1 receiving touchdown. I got Amon-Ra St. Brown back here in the background. He's my favorite player, but Gibbs is pushing for that right. I need to get a poster of him as well. And Goff, Jared Goff. We're at the 2-minute warning. And it's 31-9. And Detroit has just earned their first number 1 seed in franchise history. On their franchise record, 15th regular season win. The most wins in a regular season game ever were in this game. In NFL history, 14-2 Lions, 14-2 Vikings. The winner got the 1 seed, the loser 5 seed. Minnesota, enjoy that 5 seed. Detroit gets the home field advantage all the way to the Super Bowl. In the game, the crowd was amazing in this game. You could hear them. But Goff was 26 of 32 in this game for 227 yards and a touchdown passing as well. So what's going to happen? They're talking about J.J. McCarthy from Michigan, and the way that Darnold played in this game didn't look very good. But I don't know who could have looked good with the pressure that Detroit's defense put on Darnold. So Detroit's just going to run this game out. Reynolds came in to spell Gibbs, and he had a great game as well. Williams, of course. Laporta was amazing at tight end. Man, this team, never count them out. It's the culture. It's the culture. They are all bought in. It doesn't matter which starters are out, which ones are on IR, not available. The rest of the team knows that you better do your job for the person next to you, because all the rest of them are doing their job. So here we go. On 3rd and 8, it was a run from Detroit, but clock's ticking. That's fine. So this game started. In the first quarter, Detroit had a 3rd and 5, and Gibbs caught a ball and lost ground before he gained 6 yards for that first down. That was the first amazing play by him. He spun around the defender and went upfield and got 6 yards. Then on a run, Gibbs did lose yards, But then he got 5 yards back to set up a 3rd and 8. And Lions ran the ball, and Gibbs had 7 yards. And Detroit had to punt. Why run in that situation was a question in my mind. But turns out it didn't matter. Detroit punted to Minnesota's 14-yard line, and it was a 56-yard punt by Fox, Detroit's punter. So Minnesota had the ball, and Jones had an 8-yard run. Then Hockenson and Laporta, both from Iowa, both were drafted by Detroit, and I think Detroit kept the best one of them. In my opinion, go let me know if you like Hockenson. He's pretty good. He had an 8-yard catch. Jefferson had a 6-yard catch, and then Jones had a 3-yard run. So they're moving the ball on their first possession. On 3rd and 2, Jones had a 4-yard catch. Then Jones had a 4-yard run. A false start hurt Detroit, the Lions, or Minnesota. The Lions and Detroit fans were roaring in the stands, even though Minnesota spent a fortune to acquire a lot of tickets for that game. So there it is. There are those fans cheering. Number 1 seed for the first time in history. Let's go. Let's go. With that false start on Minnesota's first drive, killed them. It was 3rd and 9, and it was incomplete. Detroit hit Darnold a couple of times early in that possession. And the punt was returned to Detroit's 22-yard line. And then Detroit got the ball, went on a 9-play, 78-yard drive in 5 minutes. Gibbs had a 4-yard run. Laporta had a 7-yard catch. And then great protection for Goff on that play for the 7-yard catch for that first down. Then a play action to St. Brown for 23 yards was awesome. Laporta then had another 8-yard catch. On 3rd and 2, Detroit had to call a timeout to avoid delay of game. We cannot have that kind of stuff going forward in the playoff. We need those timeouts in the end, eventually. But on 3rd and 2, after the timeout, there was a holding call on Detroit, so it was 3rd and 12. Patrick caught a 7-yard catch to get back in field goal range for Detroit. But on 4th and 5, Dan Gamble went for it, and Williams had a 14-yard catch and run up the sideline. Then the very next play, Gibbs broke out for a 25-yard touchdown run. Up the middle, bounced outside, and he was gone. So it was 7-0 Detroit. And the crowd was into this game at home. Minnesota's Darnold was sacked by Zadarius Smith for a 17-yard loss to Minnesota's 3-yard line on Minnesota's second possession to start it. Jones then had a 9-yard catch to make it 3rd and 18, but Darnold overthrew Hockenson, and the pressure from Aaron Glenn was working. They had to punt to Detroit's 30-yard line, and Raymond caught the ball on that punt return and went sideways instead of north, and lost a yard on that return. But nonetheless, in the second quarter, Detroit had the ball, and it started with a false start on their drive, on their 3rd drive of the game. Gibbs was lit up in the backfield after that by Van Ginkel for a loss of 8 yards on a swing pass. They were ready for that. Then Goff was sacked by Greenard for 10 yards. The defenses were stepping up with 2 straight 3-and-outs to open this game. Looked like a defensive battle. And they punted to Minnesota's 44-yard line. Minnesota had the ball, and Oliver had a 13-yard catch. On 3rd and 10, Jefferson had a 31-yard catch. Great protection for Darnold on that play. We brought the house, and he found Jefferson wide open. On 3rd and goal, it was incomplete again. 4th and goal was incomplete too. And Detroit took over on their own 3-yard line. This happened a couple of times in this game, and it didn't work out so well for Detroit either time. Minnesota going for the touchdown there, though, showed me that they were scared of Detroit's offense and their defense. But they had faith in their own defense in that situation, and that's exactly what happened. Detroit gave Minnesota 3 points after a turnover there at their own goal line. Started with Gibbs' 5-yard run, and the Lions got lucky with Goff in the end zone where he had the incomplete pass. He threw a forward pass, and as he was hit in the end zone, it was ruled incomplete. They said there was a receiver in the area, but I didn't see it. There was a few calls that have gone the Lions' way lately, and my God, it's refreshing, isn't it? Normally, all of them go against the Lions. And on 4th and goal, it was incomplete. So, like I said, no. Yes. Detroit got the ball after that. And the forward pass was ruled incomplete. Then Detroit got a first down on 3rd and 5 on Laporta's 6-yard catch. So great. We got out of the end zone area. Reynolds had an 8-yard run. And on 3rd and 1, Reynolds had a 3-yard run. But then the worst thing happened for Detroit early in this game. A former Michigan player, Josh Metellus, tipped the ball at the goal line, and Pace intercepted at Detroit's 7-yard line. Minnesota had 3 straight incompletions, though, in that drive from Detroit's 7. Darnold was throwing every one of them too far. They were wide open. And they decided to kick the field goal and make it. And it was a 7-3 game. Detroit still led with 6:35 left in the half. And then some BS shit happened here. Patrick had an 8-yard catch. A play action to St. Brown for 11 yards was awesome. Gibbs had 3- and 4-yard runs, and on 3rd and 3, Gibbs had a 2-yard run. It should have been a 3-yard run. They reviewed it, and they upheld it. That was bullshit. I thought it was a first down. And on 4th and inches, Campbell challenged the spot for the first down, but the ruling was upheld. And then on 4th and inches, Detroit threw the ball. It was deflected at the line of scrimmage, and Minnesota took over at the 42 with 2 minutes and 58 seconds left in this game. Minnesota went down and scored a field goal. Detroit's defense stepped up yet again. On Minnesota's drive on 3rd and 6, Naylor had an 18-yard catch and run. And then it was a 2-minute warning. Detroit needed a stop because Minnesota got the ball to start the second half. Jones had a 5-yard run. A pitch to Jones for 8 yards, plus a hold on Detroit, put Minnesota at Detroit's 23-yard line. So it was 13-yard play there total. On 3rd and 6, it was incomplete, though, and Darnold was hit again in the backfield. He came up limping at the end of this game. The defense for Detroit was amazing. The 31-yard field goal was made, and it was 7-6 Detroit. The defense stepped up once again, and now we need Detroit to attack offensively in the second half is what I was thinking at that moment in time. Minnesota's kick was out of bounds with 20 seconds left in the first half, and wow, that was not a good idea because St. Brown had a 19-yard catch, ran out of bounds to get into field goal range, but we weren't done yet. Raymond had an 11-yard catch, and then Detroit called a timeout, their final timeout of the half, with 2 seconds left. And Bates' 48-yard field goal was good, which made it 10-6 Detroit at halftime. Minnesota got the ball to start the second half in the third quarter. We got them to 3rd and 8 early. And then Detroit's Branch had illegal contact downfield, which gave him a first down. Then Cam Akers had a 58-yard field goal on fourth down later. Or no, Cam Akers, wasn't he a kicker? That's what I was thinking. No, he's a running back for Minnesota. He had a 58-yard run all the way down to Detroit's 5-yard line. And this was a crucial tackle by Kirby Joseph. It was a touchdown-saving tackle because Minnesota couldn't get in after that. On third and goal, it was incomplete. On fourth and goal, Minnesota went for it again, and it was incomplete again. So now Detroit had to start within their own 5-yard line again. And Goff basically punted to Minnesota. He threw the ball way deep. It was a 46-yard bomb that was intercepted at Minnesota's 46-yard line. That's probably what's going to happen anyway. At least we didn't turn it over down there and make it easy for Minnesota. But they got the ball, and Jones had a 7-yard run. And then Arnold for Detroit was hurt on that run. And that is not what Detroit needs right now with the already depleted defense that we have. Jones had a bubble screen then for Minnesota, and then an intentional grounding was called for a loss of 13 yards on Sam Darnold. Detroit's defense had been ferocious. Can't emphasize that enough. Jefferson then had a 17-yard catch, though, right after I was thinking that. And on 3rd and 6, it was broken up by Detroit. The 51-yard field goal was good for Minnesota. It was 10-9, a 1-point game. Detroit would finally have a possession with decent starting field position, though, after the kickoff. And they went 13 plays for 70 yards in 7.5 minutes. It started with a play-action screen to Gibbs for 9 yards. Then Laporta had a 7-yard catch. Gibbs with 4 yards. And then a tricky play cost Detroit 5 yards. Kind of a reverse throwback and a loss of yards. Then a false start backed him up even further. But Laporta, again with an 18-yard catch, made it 3rd and 2. And then St. Brown had a 13-yard snag out of the air. I can't say enough about Detroit's offensive line either because Goff is not mobile at all, but he was able to step one way or another and complete the passes that he needed to. This team is amazing. So, first down, Detroit. Williams had a 6-yard catch, Gibbs with 3 yards, and then on 3rd and 4, Gibbs had a 3-yard run. On 4th and 1, Detroit went for it again. It was a pass, though, to Gibbs for a 10-yard touchdown. And Detroit now led 17-9. Naylor had a 27-yard catch for Minnesota to open their next drive. Jones had a 4-yard run. On 3rd and 4, it was incomplete, though. And on 4th and 4, Minnesota elected to kick the 52-yard field goal, and they missed it. And Detroit took over at their 41-yard line. Goff to Gibbs for 14 yards ended the 3rd quarter, and Detroit had an 8-point lead entering this 4th quarter. Laporta had an 11-yard gain. Detroit got lucky again on a Van Ginkel pick 6 that was dropped. That could have tied the game right there instead of being a blowout for Detroit. But St. Brown then had a 9-yard catch. On 3rd and 1, Williams had a 12-yard grab over the middle. Wasn't afraid of the contact. Gibbs capped off this drive again with 13-yard run and for a touchdown, and Detroit led 24-9. And then Minnesota took over in the 4th quarter with 13 minutes and 6 seconds left. On 3rd and 5, Anzalone held and gave them a first down. On 3rd and 9, though, Darnold was sacked by Muhammad for 7 yards. On 4th and 9, later in the drive, Minnesota punted for some reason, with limited time, down 24-9. I don't understand it, but cool. They punted to Detroit's 26-yard line, and that's when Gibbs had that 47-yard run, then a 10-yard run, and punched it in, and Detroit won this game 31-9. Turn their first ever 1 seed. We get playoff games at home in Detroit. We heard how loud it was there. Man, I'm old enough to remember blackouts where the NFL didn't even air Detroit games because there weren't enough people in attendance. The stands were empty. The program was shit. It was horrible. This feels like a dream that I'm living in right now, watching the Detroit Lions breaking records, leading the league in points per game. The defense stepping up, holding Minnesota to 9 points in this game without all of their starters. Come on, it's a fairy tale. Now the rest of them are at home too, and they're going to get people back, and Montgomery's going to come back at running back. We'll have Knuckles and Sonic once again in the backfield. Dan Skipper being reported eligible. Oh, the fans love that, didn't they, in the game? Man, thank you, Detroit, for making this organization much better. Thank you, Martha Ford. Thank you, Brad Holmes. Thank you, Dan Campbell. Thank you, all the fans out there that are bought in, watching shows like mine here on this channel. Like, share, subscribe. Man, go Honolulu Blue, huh? Let's go. Have a great day, everybody.